I've had this green screen here for 8 years and I learned something new. Check this. This thing, apparently, I had no idea for the longest time, has had a pocket that you can use for draping the bar. Like, yeah, for the future, this thing's gonna make my life so much easier. Like, actually, I stopped using this thing because it's such a pain to put up. I gotta check on my other backdrop. Maybe they have a pocket too.
Oh, I'm sure.
This video is all about how to set up your S1H, essentially basic functions, right? Two functions is if you have a full frame lens, right? Or if you have a crop sensor lens, right? That's two things. And the other thing is how to set up your S1H for green screen shooting. Kind of all of it in one setting. Like 8 years I've had this thing. I would just drape it double over because it's really, really long, right? It's like, yeah, it's like 20 feet long.
I don't think I'm gonna do the bottom. It's long because you're supposed to like put it all the way on the floor, so when
so you can step on it. Yeah.
Then you take everybody out, especially on the TriCaster. Yeah. You can take it out and then put them in a virtual set.
Yeah.
Maximizing your green screen.
Yo,
because all the functionality.
No doubt. And in fact, even if you go like one of the reasons why they actually prefer high resolution digital footage for chroma keying is because the finer the detail, the less you'll see the edges and borders.
For keying out.
Yeah, for keying out. I just wanted to showcase a comparison in size between Lumix S1H and GH5 that I have here. Hold on. It's almost the same exact size. So I have here a basic 24 to 105 macro zoom lens from Canon, EF mounted on the S1H, and the GH5 with a EFS 17 to 55, basically 24 to 80 equivalent, and it's almost the same size. I mean, the Lumix is slightly bigger. A little bit, not by much though, because one of my main concerns was how big it was. Now granted, it's a lot more dense, it's a lot heavier, but it's comparatively it's not going to be that much bigger or heavier. Green screen being set up and stretched out. Trick of the trade, you always want to have clamps. Everything's been set up. S1H is loaded, teleprompter is on. Just got to make sure that in terms of the settings are dialed in. So today's a little bit of a kind of a mock project day.
Yeah, today we're gonna basically shoot some leadership videos. 21 irrefutable laws of leadership.
John Maxwell, baby.
That's it. So
it's like the staple of the foundation, like your staff and volunteers here.
Yeah, I mean everything's based on leadership. Everything
rises and falls on leadership. Straight up.
We invest in people, right, and not just structures and buildings. So
or gear.
Yeah, or gear. Yeah.
Although we do invest in gear, it's just the priority of people first.
That's it. So this is something that we're wanting to launch online. Have like a webinar, an online learning platform. So basically an online institute is what we're starting to build content out, which we already have a lot of content in Spanish.
Yeah.
We went to Colombia and shot with Mohamed Issa.
Yeah.
In Medellin, man, that city is beautiful. You gotta go if you haven't been.
It's on the list, man. Hopefully when this COVID stuff is has relaxed a bit, then
that's it. So we shot a whole series in Spanish. It needs a little bit of post-production, but it's pretty much ready to go. And so this will be another on the English side, but more for you know, core volunteers that have really been vetted and they're interested in wanting to contribute to the community in whatever way, shape, or form. We've been using media since the get. Media was the tool to be able to reach the people in a faster level and in a cultural context, right? Because once they hear someone that comes from their similar background, they're a little more open to the information. We're excited to get this production going.
Oh, look at this. He's got the whole mirror. Hey, folks.
Yeah, that's the teleprompter.
Hey, how's it going?
This is a new piece of equipment. We didn't do an unboxing for this.
You got so much stuff here. It's like we can make a whole series of unboxing.
This is the carrying case for that teleprompter.
Oh, wow.
We got the Ninja 5 right here. This we hope to fire up.
It's just pending hard drive. Yeah, the arm was a little clunky.
It was. It's a little weird because it has one knob.
Yeah.
That controls
everything.
All the balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of mess with it, man. I just kind of brute force this part right here. But yeah, man, this thing is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it helps to go from teeny tiny itsy bitsy screen like that.
Oh yeah.
To something a little bit more substantial like this. So we're in Super 35 mode, and the recording file format is MP4, right? This is something that we got to be super cognizant of, right? Because if you click on Super 35, right, you'll notice that you have full frame. Click on it. Does it work? Oh, you get full frame access. Great. But do you get 6K access? Go all the way up. Okay, so 6K is not available in MP4, right? So now go back. Now, if you want to go to 6K, you got to go to MOV format, right? So click OK, and obviously you need a high performance PC.
Automatically goes to 6K.
Automatic. Now, what are the options? How many 6K options do you have? You have 7 pages worth of 6K options, but I think you can go further down, right? So for 6K, 5.9K, which is 6K widescreen. You got 4K, and then Cinema 4K, which is actually 17 by 9.
Okay. A little extra, some.
Yeah, as opposed to 16 by 9.
Yeah.
And so basically, your 6K and 4K settings that are super high bitrate are in MOV file format. Yeah, but you want to show them the lens that you were using before?
This is the spaghetti arm lens.
Yeah, spaghetti arm. This is so dumb.
That's it.
Your ultra wide angle zoom lens. Now this is a crop sensor lens, right? Yeah. It's used on the Canon. Generally speaking, if we were to, now here's the thing to note. This is a EFS, as in Sam, gasket, right? So if you were to mount this, I'll give you another example of an EFS lens, right? So this here, open that for me. Now, this here, to make this work with like my...
This Terminator's eye right there.
Right? To make this thing work with this particular camera, I had to take off the gasket. Right? I don't recommend you do this because it kind of messes up the lens a little bit. It works functionally. But the good thing is, with the gasket and the Sigma MC21 adapter, it works just fine. So that's the good news. Now, the thing is, when you mount this on, so this here, that's the other thing you got to make sure. This is for the red dot, right? So the actual thing is, I think one of these two. This line. There you go. Okay, so it's the right before the AF/MF setting. So if you ever want to mark it with anything, maybe some red tape or something like that, so that way you know exactly how to. Or you can mark the MC21. That's where the white on white would line up.
So this thing, if you look, it's crazy wide.
Right. So obviously it's going to be super wide, ultra wide angle lens. You even see the edges of the teleprompter that we got set up. So in order to not, the question is it in Super 35 mode? No, it's in full frame 6K mode. So in order to change that, first you got to change your recording file format, go up to MP4, and then from image area of video, you go to Super 35. Done. right? And now you can change your recording quality settings. And for anybody who is ever green screening, this is for the context for this kind of green screen setting, you want the highest color resolution possible, right? To help you with keying. So that means if you can get 10-bit video, 10-bit option, that's one of the things you definitely want to select.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the higher resolution that you can get. So recording 6K green screen would actually be to your benefit.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the capacity, then 4K is just fine.
And I mean, for the purposes of online consumption,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get compressed anyway.
It's always going to get compressed, but again, it comes down to the processing of green screen footage.
Yeah.
So the question that comes in then is, how long does it take to render 6K 10-bit 420 footage in MOV versus 4K 10-bit 422 in MP4? I just threw out a bunch of numbers.
That's a lot of math.
And it's not even math. It's just a bunch of numbers and letters. But and if anybody's wondering, 4K or 6K resolution of the video. 420, 420 has to do with chroma resolution. Color, well, not resolution, but chroma sampling. But the 10-bit versus 8-bit, that's the color resolution. 10-bit is actually not just 0.2%.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think, quadruple the amount of colors versus 8-bit. Essentially, if you're gonna green screen, that's the thing that you wanna keep in mind. Again, you could work with 4K, it should be fine. 4K is probably plenty of resolution. 6K is gonna be important if you're shooting the Avengers.
Yeah.
Right, you're trying to do some visual effects, right? You want to do some After Effects.
Yeah.
Not just keying out the green and putting something else. Then, because you've managed to do green screening just fine with HD footage.
Yeah.
The fact that you got 4K should be fine for all intents and purposes, especially if you're doing it for online.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
All
right, so that got the white balance. We got the ISO. ISO is at auto. So let's set the ISO. What's the native ISO for? Okay, 640 and 4000. Dual native ISO. Right, so if you're at, say, 3200, you'll have more noise at 3200 than at 4000, right? So if you ever find yourself in a situation where should I go bump up a little bit more and then adjust it so the brightness comes down, then it'll be better off to do that. But 640 is your, there you go. That's your native ISO. Hold on.
14 gigs.
Hold on.
My goodness.
So this first file that you're showcasing is 14 gigs.
That's the last clip we just did.
So that's, so 8.5 minute file ends up being 14 gigs.
Yeah.
So my guess is for a 5-minute file, it's gonna be like closer to 10 gigs.
9.2. Yeah.
9, yeah, okay, almost 10 gigs. So that's a rule of thumb. For every 5 minutes, you're dealing with 10 gigs.